Hey, I just wanted to make a quick video response to Stefan. I'd watched your video all the way through, and I thought at first that it was going to be something truly enlightening. I gave it more hope than I guess it deserved. I thought that it might be a message that actually gathered and united people. But what I kept listening to and it reminded me of was that little snake in the Garden of Eden that basically said, "It's okay, it's alright, you should not surely die if you eat the apple." No. And to be honest, I don't have a full understanding of anarchy. I have a few friends that are, and I've had open debates with them about it too. And cordial debates, you know. I just don't understand how giving up is really a solution. You stated that you should just not be involved with government. Don't think about it. Don't do anything to stop them. Don't do anything at all. Don't unite against them. Do not vote. Don't even think about politics. Don't even look into politics. Don't study anything because that's feeding into their power. Well, the first thing is that government, by the Constitution, does not have power over the individual. In fact, the federal government does not have that many powers. It's the states that have the power. It's something that's been forgotten. And the movements like Ron Paul, they strive to bring out the message of the Constitution, and I think that's a really good thing. One thing it did bother me was your frequent quote that Ron Paul had said that he can give us liberty, which in fact, I listened to a lot of videos, and I have followed him for quite some time, and I have yet to hear him ever say that he's going to give us liberty. That's a fallacy. And I really don't think you should be putting that out there if he's never said that, because that kind of undermines your message a little bit, I think. But he never said that. If anything, from what I've read in his literature and what I've seen at debates, what he's encouraged amongst people, and the younger people especially, is to understand what the Constitution is, to understand what our freedoms are, and to understand exactly what's being taken away from us. And I encourage that. I think it's great that a lot of the youth are now starting to be interested in what's going on in the world, because they're the ones that are going to be most screwed over. But what your message is, or at least it sounds like to me, and like I said, I've only listened and watched it once, but I listened carefully to it, and it sounded like you were saying we should not do anything. Don't vote. Don't get involved, that it doesn't matter. My frequent response to anarchists have been giving up is still not doing anything about it. Not voting is the same as voting, in your opinion. If what you're saying is voting doesn't matter, then not voting doesn't matter. But what are you doing to change it? What you said is that you cannot change it. And I disagree. And history has proven more than once that I'm right. It's proven that whenever the governments have become too tyrannical and the people will not take it anymore, that there is a change, there's a movement, there's revolution, and things do eventually get changed. It's a harsh process. It happens time and time again. It happened with our own government. Well, the colonies, rather, before there even was a government. When we had the Declaration of Independence, we declared our independence. But the thing is what we forgot is that the government doesn't have power over us. We can simply stop the whole machine very easily. We are the hands and the feet of the government. Each and every one of us, police officers, military personnel, healthcare workers, anybody that works for the government, social workers, all of us are a part of the system. We are the ones running the government. All they're doing is invoking laws. Well, laws are only good so far as they are enforced. But if your hands and feet refuse to do what you tell them, well, you can ask anybody in a hospital that's paralyzed how effective that is. They only have the power that we allow them to give us. We stop, they have to stop. Now, your rationale is a little bit different. Yours is giving up. I will not feed into an evil, tyrannical system that is bent on taking our freedoms. I just give up. Revolution can happen, and it can be without blood. It can be simply the American people at one deciding they're not going to do what the government tells them. And what are they going to do to enforce it? Look at the Irish people. Now they have more brass than the American people do. Their government told them, hey, because of the austerity, they told them that the austerity measures that we're that we have to, because we've overspent all your money that you entrusted us to spend on your behalf. Well, now they want it back, and we're having to do these austerity measures, and you're going to have to sacrifice for our mistakes. Well, being an Irishman, that doesn't sit well. Hey, it doesn't sit well with me. I've got Irish in me too. So, more than half of them, as of the other day, have not paid the money that they said that they had to. Now, what's the government going to do to try and collect on half of the Irish people in Ireland money? What are they going to do? And the other ones are going to be like, forget you. Why should we do something? You should be paying for this. We are not the ones that made the decision. You're the ones that made the decision to destroy our government and our economic system. You pay it back. And hey, I agree with them 100%. So, there's modern proof, recent proof, that something as simple that Gandhi and Martin Luther King both exhibited with their movements, and that is, protesting without violence, that it can work. Protest doesn't mean having to hold up a symbol. It doesn't mean marching in a band. I mean, they've already have made, with the Resolution 347, they've made it so that you cannot protest around Secret Service people, whether or not you know they're Secret Service or not. And that's a part of the whole thing. The key term is being secret. So how do you know? And you can be arrested, put in jail for 10 years. It's a felony charge. So they don't care about protests. And I understand, okay, the futility of how it seems. But just giving up is, I think, cowardly. Yeah, I think it's cowardly. And I do not ascribe to that. I'd rather fight for our liberties. And you're probably saying, well, you're just feeding into the whole system. How can you possibly fight against them? And you're right, changing people's minds is very difficult. But wait a minute. I remember back in 2008, Ron Paul had about half the support that he has right now, and now he's doubled it. And I'm almost willing to bet that if he has to run another term, that he would even triple his support. So, would that not classify as changing? I think he's changing people's hearts and minds. I think he's getting people to focus in on what the real issues are. And never has he said that I bring you liberty. In fact, and I cannot quote him for him, but just listening to how he has spoke before, I would say that his response would be that your liberty is your responsibility. You have to go out and claim it. I cannot give you liberty any more than I can give you anything else. And that's in line with what you said. But you are also accepting the government's power over you. By saying what you have, you are accepting the government's power. And that's something I do not accept. The Constitution is on our side. Enough of us protest by just simply stopping. I can guarantee you there's soldiers that are already, there's dissension in the ranks. Right now, there's dissension amongst the populace. And there's proof in that in legislation. What with the H.R. 347, the anti-protest bill. And recently Obama and the Secretary of Defense both went over to the soldiers in the Middle East and told them to disarm because they're afraid of the dissension. That tells you something. Change is happening. Change can happen. But it means waking up the American populace. And I think if anything else, even if Ron Paul doesn't win, that him doing that has done a greater service to this nation than any politician has done in centuries. The government does not have power over you. It doesn't have power over me. In so much as we allow it, as a populace, as a citizenry of America, to allow them to do so. We invoke our rights, we rein them in, and if they don't, we plainly stop. They have to eat too. Truckers could stop all their shipments. And would that not be a surprise for them as well? We are the hands and feet of the government. We are the ones that help them do and enact the laws. Without our support, they are nothing. And that's the message I wish to bring. And I would hope that other anarchists and libertarians and other patriots out there would agree with me. The best way and the less violent way is to make sure that the government does what it's supposed to, by the law, by the Constitution, because the laws that they're putting out right now are unconstitutional. It's not just this health care bill. There are plenty of bills that they have passed within the last 6 months that are highly unconstitutional, and I do not respect them. They are not valid. But it takes us as a nation, as a people, rising up and saying we're not going to take it anymore. Just like the Irish people did. If they could do it, we can do it. And I think it's getting to that point. And once the people understand that you can stop this machine from running just by stopping yourself, I think that is whenever we will see things turn around, and I think we'll see change in government, because you might accept that the federal government has power over you and is able to enact these laws over you, but I do not. So that's my response. And I hope I understood you right in your message. And if not, we can talk about it over coffee. But until then, have a good day.